One more day on the job. Is this a happy face going into work? Can you tell I'm happy to be at work? What do you think? It's a Wednesday. Let's go get this thing done, do my job, make it through the day, and go home. Yes, ensure my kids have an awesome day of learning and go home. So I make sure to do a bit of writing every day. Yes, get them to write sentences. This is a must. So on this day, they were using a picture to write sentences to tell a story. On this particular day, I went on a field trip with the kids, and I really loved this field trip. I'm going to show you a clip after. It's called Little World, and it's located at Nation Towers on the Coronation, Abu Dhabi. What I liked about this field trip is that it felt like daycare. You literally dropped the kids off, and the nannies there who work at the field trip, they were basically in charge of the kids for the whole day. They did all the activities with the kids. It was proper supervision. I would definitely recommend Little World. Now here you're seeing some plants. Seeds sown by my kids. They really enjoyed this lesson. Every day they have to look at their plants and measure to see the growth. Yes. So we were basically looking at how plants, animals, humans are affected by their environment. So they had to sow some seeds that were in sunlight, no soil, as opposed to seeds that got no sunlight, no water. How would it be affected? So this was it was a really learning experience for them, and they're really excited about the growth. Now, here is a math lesson I did to subtract 2 and 3-digit numbers, and I always encourage teachers to teach the vocabulary. Kids need to know words that are the same as subtract and so on. It really helps when we teach the vocabulary because, of course, we know that sometimes math comes in worded form and they need to understand the different terms that may be used. So we did regrouping and no regrouping. Now, here is another look of my reading garden that I've been working on. Every day I do something else to it. So I have my kids seated comfortably after they have finished their work. Yes, do some silent reading. I really encourage and promote reading within my classroom. So this is still a work in progress. So guys, up next, I want to focus on lesson planning. I know lots of you have been asking to show you samples of my lesson plan. This I am unable to do because of privacy for my school and in sharing documents as such. So I'm going to be sharing with you some samples taken from the internet, sample lesson plans that are from the UK curriculum or the American curriculum, as that's what's mostly used here. So whenever you are going to be planning for your lessons, these are 4 important things to have in mind. What am I teaching? Who am I teaching? How will I teach it? How will I know if the students understood? And these are questions that should be in the minds of every teacher. So let's look at some plans. So whether you teach in the high school, primary school, or early childhood, early years, lesson planning is a very important time for all teachers. All schools, as far as I know, lesson plan is done in teams. So you sit together with your grade level and you go ahead and you make the lesson plan. So you don't have to sit and plan a lesson all by yourself. So let me now go ahead and show you some sample lesson plans. I'm going to try to show you primary level lesson plans and high school level lesson plans. Let me first start out by saying that every school has its own lesson plan template, a different setup, a different layout. Some are more detailed, in which you have to write some really long lesson plans, while some are quite simple and straightforward. However, there are key details that must be a part of every lesson plan. For example, as you're seeing here, the grade level must be there, the subject being taught, and the learning outcome, the success criteria, the learning objective, etc. The resources that will be used for this lesson, how will you prepare for the lesson, the key vocabulary. Those are some things that must be a part of the lesson plan template. How you will introduce the lesson, how the method you will use, etc. So again, this is a sample one that I took from the internet. And of course, here you are seeing the introduction, how long this will take, what the teacher will need to do, what the students will need to do. So this is one format in which how schools have their lesson plan templates, wherein you have to write what the teacher will do, what the students will do, what are the expected outcome, what activities they will do as a group, what activities they will do independently, etc. Here is another sample one, and like I said before, different schools have their different layout, their different format, but there are things that are standard. So again, as you can see here, the title or the units being looked at, what stage, the objectives, the I can statements, I can. These are what the students are expected to be able to do after you have finished the lesson. In some schools, you have to write the I can statements on the board. So not just only in the lesson plan, but the I can statements must always be on the board. Again, how will you know what the students can do, etc. So again, this is another format. What the teacher will do throughout the lesson, what the students will do, etc. How will your lesson end? What will be the closing activity? And here we love to use exit slips. And you can have a look at that on Google, exit slips, where you hand them out to the students at the end of the lesson. And what they actually do is write what they have learned. So they write two things, or they write two things about what they learned during the lesson. And this is a form of informal assessment, or how to gather data, or how to know if your students have learned the lesson, if they grasp anything. So this one is a sample math lesson plan, and it is showing that it's unit 3, it's day 9, and this is what the lesson is on. Again, it has the essential question, lesson objective. So again, guys, I keep repeating myself that different schools have different formats. Essential question. This is one thing I have to have on our lesson plans. The essential question, the learning objective, the success criteria, a little breakdown of what the kids will learn. Some lesson plans, you need to have the questions, sample questions that you will ask. Again, you have to show the materials or the resources that will be used, etc. Yes, schools here also like to see grouping done in the class. Yes, so that's a part of the lesson plan. How will you check for learning? For those, you have some fast finishers. What will you do to enrich them or to extend their learning? So different schools, again, different formats, different things that are expected to be in the lesson plan. This is another sample one. So you would have the lesson title, the subject, the year or the class or the grade, You will have to state the learning objective, the resources, the warm-up, or how you would introduce the lesson. And here's another part that is featured in all lesson plans here. What activities will you have for the low ability kids, the middle ability, the higher, you can call them the LA, the MA, the HA. You have to state what activities you will do for the different ability levels in your class. Remember, not all lesson plans or one lesson plan or one method will fit all learners. So you have to state what you have to show differentiation, I should say. Yes, you have to show differentiation in your lessons. So again, all that I have mentioned, again, it depends on the format, but there are some key areas that must be included in all lesson plans. So I hope showing you these sample lesson plans will really give you some insight as to what is expected in lesson planning here in the UAE. And again, remember, from my experience, yes, since being here, I've never had to plan a lesson on my own. We plan our lessons in teams within our grade. We have subject teams, or we have teams that are planning all the lessons for a particular week. Then another team plans for the following week. It depends on what works in each school and how you decide to go through it as a grade. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you found this video informative. Don't forget to, guys, subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment.